Currently here at the ginnery, where the production of cotton used to be at its peak in the late 70s. Now what is left of this factory is just beds, a lot of them. Now the reason why this factory is dormant is because they are not getting the volumes required to boost production. Now Wienco Cotton Ghana Limited, this factory located in Tamale used to be one of the major production sites for cotton production in Ghana. The agricultural commodity producing company, Wienco Ghana, took over the then Ghana Cotton Company Limited in 2011, which was facing some challenges. Years down the line, and the story is no different for Wienco. Chief Accountant Aliu Basha Mohammed tells me how a decline in seed cotton supply is crippling their business.
Once the farmer is not making money, that particular farmer will not be motivated to do the production. When you take 2014-2015 season, we paid a seed cotton price of 2 CD 10 pesos to a farmer. Now the following year, this price dropped to 1 CD 60 pesos. Now as a farmer, this particular decrease in price will certainly affect you.
In its first season of production, the company produced about 4,500 metric tons of seed cotton. As an effect of the inconsistency on the part of the farmers, production level continued to drop, reaching 2,000 metric tons in 2015-2016 cotton season. A tour around the factory shows a sorry sight. Most of the tractors and trucks, which could be used for production, lie dormant. All this here that I'm standing on is seed cotton. Now the season has not yet started for them, but then this one they have here, they're going to use them after the maintenance works that are ongoing. Now on a good day or during their peak season, they have about 7 warehouses and they are filled to the top with seed cotton. Then it is sucked through this tunnel here, goes into the factory, and then the processing is done. But then because the volumes that they require, they are not able to meet that supply, they are only able to do about 3 to 4 now. And all this here is seed cotton that is processed into fine cotton and then later used for fabric. For the machinery and equipment for production, the company has it all. All it needs is the adequate supply for production. The month of October is the cotton season, and by now, farmers should be picking and presenting their seed cotton to the company. However, the season looks dry now. General Manager of Wienco Cotton Ghana, Chief Ibrahim Zingna, recalls how vibrant the factory used to be.
So normally when cotton arrives at the ginnery, we have the weigh bridge. The vehicles have to go to the weigh bridge just for us to cross-check and see the weight. Then after weighing, it comes to the ginnery. It goes under the telescope. Then we have some pneumatic fans that sucks the cotton from the vehicle into the jeans. And then when it comes, because there are some foreign particles in the cotton seeds, we have object, or should I say a machine. That's the separation. It's try to separate and then remove the unwanted particles that are within the seed cotton. And then in the jeans, we have the upper section, which is the feeder, that tries to do more cleaning of the seed cotton before it gets to the jean itself. And when it gets to the jean, that's where the separation takes place. We have the seeds and we have the fiber.
Although not enough, the company gets its raw materials from a few farmers in the Upper West and Upper East regions. As a way of increasing its raw materials, the company has started its own cotton farm. This 5-hectare piece of land is expected to produce some tons for production. So this is the cotton plant. This is how it looks. I don't know why I always imagined it a big tree. But then when the ball opens, this is how it looks. And so the cotton is picked out like this. It's hand-picked. And that is a lot of work for the farmers. So this is what it goes through. And then you get your fine cotton Processing is done and then the seeds are taken out. Cotton production expanded rapidly in the early and mid-1970s, reaching 24,000 tons in 1977, but fell back to one-third of this figure in 1989. As part of plans to improve the cotton industry, the late President John Evans Atta Mills launched the Cotton Sector Revival Strategy, also known as the White Gold Project. However, it did not succeed. Executive Director of the Cotton Development Authority, James Rio, explains why.
The companies and government came together to say that, look, we want to have a stop of this mess. So let's come out with something called zoning. So zoning was piloted in 1999. And then in 2000, 2001, it was established. So the whole production area was zoned to all the companies. Now, in trying to zone the production area, some of the companies fell out because they initially were not investing in the cotton sector, but they just used to go and buy cotton. So now that they have to get an area to produce, they felt it was better to just stop. Then those that were available, they were given the various areas. But at the end of it all, most of them fell on the way because they couldn't pre-finance farmers. And definitely because of the mess that they created, the kind of stealing and pushing diversion of input and fertilizer that came in, it was a bad situation for the company. So even though companies fell out on the way, leaving by 2007, it was just left with 4 companies. All the same, the problem had been created. So it was very difficult now for the cotton industry to be revived.
Africa's leading producer of cotton and the world's 10th largest, Burkina Faso, accounts for an average of 3% of global exports since 2000. Mr. Weyo explains how having a stabilization fund like that of Mali and Burkina Faso has helped sustain their booming cotton industry.
Stabilization fund is one that we should all crave for. In all the countries that you see cotton doing well, they all have backup funds or stabilization fund that in case the world market drops, the farmer definitely is going to take lower money because the local price will also drop. Government comes out with that stabilization fund to cushion the farmer. So anywhere you have seen cotton doing well, they have this stabilization fund. Even though China is world number 2, they even have subsidy on cotton prices. So their price is 40% higher than international price.
Whilst cotton is an international commodity, Winkle Cotton is a private company. We should have a stabilization fund being led by government so that at any point in time, the farmer is guaranteed a price that he will be getting. So that even if the international market is going down, government can stabilize the company through the stabilization fund, then the company can pay the farmer a good price.
He, however, assures that all hope is not lost, as government has more plans for the cotton industry.
The current government is also in discussion with the China Machinery Engineering Center. They are also interested in bringing in machinery that can be used by the cotton farmers to help in land preparation, spraying, and other agronomic measures.
For Ghana, he believes the solution will be the enforcement of strict regulations in the sector.
Government should put in place a regulatory body. That was the first thing. So, government felt that it was a good advice. So they went back to revisit their old Cotton Development Board and said that, well, let's go back and take the Cotton Development Board Act. By then, after some time, Cotton Development Board became Cotton Development Authority. So let's go and take the Cotton Development Authority Act and see whether we can amend it to suit our current purpose. So now that they went for it, we had to send it to Attorney General for the amendment to take place. And by the end of 2016, of course, the government was off. A new government came, but the minister sent the Amendment Act to Attorney General. Since then, it has been fourth in front.
Well, until the act is passed, perhaps Ghana will only have memories of the once booming cotton industry to live on with. For Joy Business, Karen Dodu. Vincent Clement is a farmer and manager of this 4-hectare rice farm. Formerly a sugarcane farm, this farm used to be one of the many that supplied sugarcane to the Esuchari sugar factory some 20 years ago. Vincent believes that poor management is one of the reasons the factory broke down.
In the 70s, the time the sugar factory is in the 70s, and during those days, we were students. We were going to school, and here is the sugarcane farm. And then the sugarcane, we learned the sugarcane factory going down, got down around the 80s. By then, we were in school. So we are not part of the workers. And then before we complete, totally the sugarcane factory industry collapsed and broke down, and then all this area became vacant. The sugarcane condemned.
With the factory being the main source of demand for the sugarcane farmers, they were left with no choice than to quit growing sugarcane. With their silt clay lands, the farmers resorted to rice farming, as rice thrives well in that type of soil.
Here is vacant, lying down, and our village is closer to the farm, and then we start preparing it small for, we tend it, and then preparing it small for rice farm.
In running his farm, Vincent has to daily face the #1 enemy of his business: birds. The birds who are attracted to the open rice grains pick them all day. Shouting and pelting stones at them, well, helps to some extent, but that comes at the cost of his son losing his voice by the day.
You scare them with catapults too. So sometimes if you spray the catapult, you throw them the catapult, you must shout so that they will know that you are serious.
Like scare them?
Yes. Sometimes you throw the catapult, they'll be there, but if you shout, no, they'll go. And this job is done from 6 to 6. 6 to 6. Oh, yeah, hey!
Now into full-time rice farming, Vincent grows up to 3 tons of rice in a good season.
Yes.
Another group of people in the rice production chain are the collectors. Women like Ma Esther, who do not own rice farms, buy the harvested rice from farmers like Vincent. Once they buy the rice from the farmers, their work is to dry, mill and bag the grains. Government, through the Pong irrigation scheme, supports farmers by watering their farms every season at a cost of 150 cedis. Esther believes that government can do more to support their business by helping in the packaging process as well.
We need a machine. It's called power tiller. It will help us harvest and package the rice. Harvesting during the rainy season is very problematic because the roads are so bad and they get so muddy, it makes the work really tiring.
Road access,
Esther, together with some 10 women, own the Merciful Rice brand. They contribute and buy the grains from farmers, dry, mill and bag them. Each 25-kilogram bag is sold for 90 cedis and the 50-kilogram bag is sold at 170 cedis. With farmers introducing the jasmine breed of local rice, Esther tells me that the demand has risen.
And yes, sir, I feel once a local rice, no. Some
people think less of the local rice. They think it's dirty, but it's not. With the new breed we have in the system now, it tastes even better. People just don't know how to cook the rice.
And so now better and so anything I almost say. I fine.
The story is no different here at the Malamata market, one of the major markets in the Accra metropolis. Here, traders in rice tell me that indeed there has been an increase in the demand for local rice. Although there is an increase in demand for locally grown rice, most of the women here do not sell them. Mama Jane, one of such traders, explains that the difficulty in getting the wholesome and nice one is her challenge.
People always come to my shop asking for local rice. Unfortunately, I don't sell some because I don't know a wholesale point to buy it from.
It's local rice no hana say ya wo malata say ye bi se nima se bi wo ho bie na shop kese bi ti akofa bi aba abeton.
With the burden demand for locally produced rice and production process desperate of assistance, it is clear that more support is needed from government for the sector. While they wait for government support, it is only God who can have mercy on their merciful rice. Reporting for Joy Business, Karin Dodu. Cyprian has been growing rice in Nobuam for the past 24 years. As a staple food in Ghana, there is a huge demand for the commodity daily. For Cyprian, also a school teacher, rice production has been profitable over the past few years and has become a major source of livelihood for his family.
And rice, really, that's what I used to pay my children's fees. It has benefited me a lot. My father used to do it when we were kids. And when I completed school at the university and started teaching, I got into this in 1994. Yes, and it's really helped me.
Although there is an increase in demand for rice annually, close to 70% of the rice consumed in Ghana is imported. This is primarily because there is a great preference for polished, clean and scented rice. As part of its mandate and its contribution to the improvement of rice production in Ghana, the Crop Research Institute, CRI, introduced farmers to a new rice variety, the Agra rice.
So when the Agra rice came on board, we were really happy and we went for it. The yield is better. It's better than that of the Jasmine 85 that we used to the crop. Yeah, the Agra rice, the yield and then the resistance to disease and the crop insects, it's better.
The CRI is a subsidiary of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research and has a broad research mandate to develop and disseminate demand-driven technologies for sustainable food productivity. Dr. Kofi Date is a rice breeder with the CRI.
For a very long time, all our breeding program focused around looking at what others have done and picking what will be suitable for us until the year 2010 that we started our own serious breeding program. You may find out what you are trying to develop, somebody has already developed it long ago. So when you assemble the right population, you look at it at different environments and then you see how they perform.
Although the Agra rice has improved the yields of farmers, they still have a long way to go to improve their business. Mary, also a rice farmer, highlights another challenge rice farmers face: irrigation. Initially, the farmers depended on a nearby stream, but due to the effect of illegal mining activities, the stream has been contaminated, making it harmful for irrigation. As a result, they have to bear the extra cost of pumping water onto their farms.
Now we can't use that water, and we have to pump the water from another stream, costing us 100 Ghana cedis every week for fuel.
It is less rich in nutrients compared to locally produced varieties. However, many people still prefer the imported ones.
We have milled, we produce a lot, and then we are not getting the buyers at the moment. You know, it's this seasonal croppings. Normally, we have a season that the production is at maximum, and then the demand, those who come to buy, sometimes we have challenges. So generally, as at now, we have a lot of rice in stock, but the buyers are not coming.
The rice milling site in Nobum was built by the Chinese some 30 years ago when they introduced rice farming in the town. It's now being managed by the cooperative of rice farmers within the town. Farmers pay 10 cedis per every 50-kilogram bag of rice polished. The mill has just 2 machines which separates the rice from the husks. So this machine here is one of the machines that the farmers used to mill their rice. Now this one was supposed to take away all the husk in the rice, but as you can see, it's not automatic, it's manual. So it doesn't make the work very effective, and we still have some husk in the rice here.
The machine you see there is the most basic of rice mills. It's a single unit husker and polisher, and it just comes out and is bagged. Ideally, you should have at least a destoner that will remove stones. Then you should have a grader that will grade the rice into broken and unbroken copper. Those are the basic things that we must have.
In 2008, the then government introduced the National Rice Development Strategy, the NRDS, with a goal of doubling rice production by 2018 and improving quality to increase demand for domestic rice. However, not much has been done with the average rice production from then, which is around 670,000 metric tons annually. To improve production, Dr. Kofi Datta believes that farmers can do more.
They need to run it as a business. If we mill here, 1 mini bag is 13 cedis. If we mill 1,000 bags, that's already 13,000. 2,000 bags, and you are already buying a new mill. So why can't they buy a new mill? Okay. We shouldn't depend on government should facilitate, make sure that those who are importing, the import is levied to boost local production. And probably because some of the machines are too expensive for individuals, government can facilitate a loan scheme. But definitely, people have to pay back that loan.
I'm right here at the Nobum Valley Rice Mill. Now behind me is their mill machine. It's the most basic of all. Although it dehacks and then polishes the rice a bit, it is not up to the international standard, or should I say the standard that most Ghanaians want their rice to look like. And this right here is how the packaging is done. It's sold to our market women just like this, and they buy on credit and pay back to the farmers in bits. Now, Ghana spends about 1.2 billion cedis annually importing rice. Now, with the potential that these farmers have and the money that we spend annually importing rice, more work needs to be done to improve the yields and the rice of our local producers. Reporting from Nobum in the Ashanti region, Karen Dodu.